ब्रह्मनाथ ओ शांति 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 स्वस्थ।
Hello students, in the previous class we discussed the last portion of the respiration, in which we discussed first the respiratory quotient, in which we discussed it is the relative proportion between the carbon dioxide produced and the oxygen consumed. Okay? And the respiratory quotient is different for different foodstuffs. For example, for the carbohydrate, the value of the respiratory quotient is 1. Okay? Next, finally, we discussed the various respiratory disorder, okay, in which we discussed 3 important disorders. Firstly, we discussed the asthma, next we discussed the emphysema, and finally we discussed the occupational respiratory disorder. In the asthma, we discussed that it is a form of, we can say, allergic reaction or the allergic disorder, in which it causes due to the dust, okay, or due to the, we can say, the pollutants that comes from the vehicles or the traffics. Okay, so these are the various forms by which it mainly causes the asthma, or also smoking could be also one of the main cause behind the asthma. Next, we discussed it is a problem in which we can say the problem in the breathing takes place, painful exhalation takes place, coughing takes place. Okay, that is why we use the symptomatic, we can say, the product to get relief from the symptomatic the product, that is, we can say, the inhaler. We use the inhaler by which the person can get some kind of, we can say, relaxation from the problem. Okay. Next, we discussed in the case of the emphysema, it is the respiratory disorder in which the hardening of the alveolar wall takes place, by which it loses the lungs elasticity, okay, by which the lungs loses its elasticity. It is a form of, we can say, serious lungs disorder. Okay. Similarly, that also, it is also a respiratory problem in which the painful exhalation takes place, or we can say in the breathing problem created, the problem is being created. Next, lastly, we discussed the occupational respiratory disorder, in which we discussed that the occupational respiratory disorder means a person, suppose he or she is working in some particular place and he is or she is been exposed to a particular pollutant for a prolonged time, by which a disease can be caused, such as your silicosis, asbestosis by the exposure to the silica or the asbestos, etc. And also finally, we discussed the prevention and also treatment, in which the common treatment is your bronchodilator use and the various antibiotics can be used. So this much we discussed in the previous class, in which by which we came to the end of the complete portion of the respiration. Today, students, we will start our new topic, completely new topic, that is your, we can say, the body fluids circulation. Students, circulation means what? Simply, if we will tell, circulation means flow, or we can say flow of the substances. Obviously, circulation is required, okay, by which the important nutrients can be flown, or we can say it can get to the particular place. Okay, blood circulation, it is highly required. Why? Because the blood which is being pumped from the heart, it reaches to particular organs of our body or particular part of our body. By how it causes? By the help of circulation. How the circulation are causes? By the help of the various body fluids. Okay, students. So firstly, we can write what is the circulation means. The circulation means it is the flow of the extracellular substances. What I am telling? It is the flow of the extracellular substances within the body for the transport of the various substances from one part of the body to another part of the body. Okay. So let's write first the definition. Circulation, it is the it is the flow of extracellular substances within the body for the transport of various substances from one part of the body to another part of the body. Okay. So, what is the definition? Once again I am saying you, it is the flow of the extracellular substances. Okay. Similarly, extracellular means that are present outside the cell. It is the flow of the extracellular substances within the body, means these are flowing inside our body. Okay. For what purpose? For the transport of the various important substances from one part of the body to the another part of the body. That is known as your circulation. Okay. In the vertebrates, basically the circulation is done by the blood, by the lymph, whereas in the invertebrate it causes by the hemocoelomic fluid, simply the water, and generally by the various body fluids. So, in the vertebrates, the circulation is being done by the blood, lymph. Okay. Blood means what? You know, it is a red color fluid connective tissue, okay, which helps in the circulation. Lymph also it is a, we can say it is a body fluid. What is the difference? Blood is present or flow in the blood vessel, whereas the lymph flow in the lymph vessel. Means their channels and networks are total, we can say it flow in the blood vessel, it flow in the we can say in the lymph vessel. Okay. Lymph are generally related to producing the antibody by which it gives immunity to the body. Okay. So, this one is your in the case of the vertebrates. What happens in the invertebrates? In the invertebrates, there are various substances which help for the circulation, such as your, we can say water also, then the hemocoelomic fluid, simply blood also there. Okay, and various body fluid also are present, body fluids, okay, etc. So students, what do you mean by body fluids? Body fluids are the substances which helps in the, we can say the circulation, or we can say transport of the various substances or the gases. We can say it helps in circulation of various substances or gases. Okay. If you will take an average of a weight, body weight, suppose an average weight we are taking having around 70 kg, from the 70 kg 60% is your water, 60% is water, or on average we can say about 40 liter of the body is consist of water, and apart those means the remaining all substance is besides the water. Okay. So, as we know our body consists of the various body fluids. So we can say that 60% of the body weight is around, we can say, the water consists of, remaining all other portions. Okay. So this one is pure point. Next, the body fluid is being divided into two types. What? One is your intracellular body fluid, other one is your extracellular body fluid. Intracellular body fluid means what? The fluid which is present inside the cell. That is what is known as your intracellular body fluid. Extracellular body fluid, the body fluid which are present outside the cell. Those are known as the extracellular body fluid. So we can say the body fluid is being divided into two types. One is your intracellular body fluid, other one is your extracellular body fluid. Extracellular body fluid. Okay. So what is intracellular? What is extracellular? As the name suggests, intra means inside, cellular means cell, extra means outside, cellular means cell. So body fluid body fluid present inside the cell. In this case, the body fluid present outside the cell. Body fluid present outside the cell. Okay, students. So what we have known till now. Firstly, the definition. What is the definition? It is the flow of the extracellular substances within the body for the transport of the various substances from one part of the body to another part of the body. In vertebrates, circulation is done by the blood, the lymph. Detail about the lymph, blood we will discuss, don't worry. In the invertebrates, the circulation can be done by the water, hemocoelomic fluid. As we know, the hemocoelomic cavity is present. In similarly, the fluid that is present, that is called your hemocoelomic fluid. It acts as the body fluid, or we can say it helps in the circulation. Blood is also means it helps for the circulation, and also general body fluids are also present. So what is the body fluid? It is the substance which helps in the circulation of various substances, or simply we can say the gases. Okay. If we will take the average weight of around the person over 70 kg, the 60% of the weight is around water, or we can say 40 liter, and remaining substances are present. Body fluid is further divided into two types: intracellular fluid, extracellular fluid. Intracellular fluid means body fluid is present inside the cell, okay, and extracellular body fluid means body fluid that is present outside the cell. Okay, students, please note down. Next, students, we will discuss so many types of the various branches of the body fluid, that is, we can say the intracellular fluid and the extracellular fluid, and under that various examples we will discuss. Okay, means types of the extracellular fluid. First, as the name suggests, the intracellular fluid means what? The fluid which is present inside the cells having the various essential substances. Okay, so we can write our first point. Intracellular fluid, or the ICF, we can say it is present inside the cell having various essential substances. Okay, and always remember, in different cells, same amount or the concentration of the substances are present, means various cells are present, means the concentration or the amount of the substances are same. So we can say in various cell, or we can say in different cells, in different cells the concentration of substances are same. Okay. Next is extracellular fluid, simply the fluid which is present outside the cell. The fluid which is present outside the cell, that is what is called the extracellular fluid. Under that, various types of extracellular fluid are present. Firstly, the interstitial fluid or the tissue fluid. As the name suggests, the fluid which is present in between the tissue is known as the tissue fluid or the interstitial fluid. We discussed the tissue fluid, how it plays the major role in the case of the respiration. Okay, so the interstitial fluid means it is present present in between the tissues. Okay, the fluid which is present in between the tissue, it is known as the tissue fluid. Next, blood plasma. Obviously, we know blood consists of two portions. I have told in the next, one is your cellular portion and other one is the liquid portion. The liquid portion is known as your plasma. Then obviously, that fluid is present inside the blood. So we can write the blood plasma. It is present inside the blood. Similarly, lymph plasma, it is present inside the lymph. It is present inside the lymph. Okay. What is lymph? As I have told you, it is a connective tissue which flows inside the lymph vessel. Detail we will discuss later. Next, what is the cerebrospinal fluid or the CSF? Students, it is the fluid which is present inside the ventricles of the brain. Ventricles means the cavity. That also you don't worry, we will discuss in our forthcoming classes. Next is we can say it is the fluid which is present inside the ventricles of the brain, central canal of the spinal cord. Okay, central canal of the spinal cord. Next, the subarachnoid space around the brain and the spinal cord. Listen students, these terms you might have listening for the first time, but don't worry about the terms. Just as of now, you just listen the terms, because when we will discuss our nervous system, then you will thoroughly discuss what is the ventricles, means what are the various cavities are present inside the brain. Okay, what is the central canal of the spinal cord. Next, what are the subarachnoid space means it have the brain are having various membranes. Okay, the space in between that membranes, one of the space that is we can say the subarachnoid space. Okay, it consists of the fluid that is known as your cerebrospinal fluid. So don't worry about the terms, don't confuse about the terms. Just as of now, you just listen the terms. The terms will discuss in our coming classes. Okay, so we will write. The cerebrospinal fluid, it is present in the ventricles, means cavities of brain, central canal of spinal cord. Next, the subarachnoid space around the brain and the spinal cord, around brain and spinal cord. Okay. Lastly, what is the intraocular fluid? It is basically found in the eyeballs, that is in the aqueous humor, or we can say the vitreous humor. Aqueous humor, vitreous humor, these are also, don't worry about the terms, these are the various chambers, okay, that are present. In this chamber, the fluid that is present, that is called your intraocular fluid. The fluid, what it does, we can say it gives the watery like substance, or we can say it helps in the lubrication or the proper working of the eyeball. Okay, so means the damage cannot be happen in the case of the eyeball. We can simply say the proper functioning can be done of the eyeball by the help of the presence of the intraocular fluid, by which it presents the lubrication to the eyeball. Don't worry about the function, don't worry about the terms, we will discuss these portions in the nervous system, okay, when we will discuss the eye portion. So, intraocular fluid means these are the fluids which are found in the eyeballs. It is found in the eyeballs, okay, having the various chambers such as your vitreous humor and the aqueous humor, which are the various chambers. Okay. So, simply what we have discussed, intracellular fluid ICF, it is present inside the cell, having various essential substances. In the various cell or the different cells, the amount or the concentration of the we can say substances are same. Next, the extracellular fluid, it is the fluid which is present outside the cell. Interstitial fluid or the tissue fluid, what it is? It is present in between the tissues. Simply blood plasma, it is present inside the blood. Simply the lymph plasma, it is the fluid which is present inside the lymph. Similarly, the cerebrospinal fluid, or we can say the CSF, it is present in the ventricles of the brain, central canal of the spinal cord, and also the subarachnoid space around the brain and the spinal cord. And lastly, the intraocular fluid, it is basically found in the eyeballs, that is your we can say the aqueous humor and the vitreous humor. What are these? These are the various chambers. Okay, please note down. We will discuss some more. Next, students, we will discuss some more extracellular fluid, that are we can say the synovial fluid, digestive fluid, and the fluid of urinary tract. Synovial fluid, these are the fluid which are present basically inside the we can say in the joints area. Okay, the joints area, the presence of the synovial fluid. It is you might have heard that the presence of the synovial fluid is much required, because if the synovial fluid level decreases, the joint pains comes out in the case of the older persons. Okay, so we can write these are the fluid which are present in the joints. Joints means it helps in the proper functioning in between the joints. So we can write it is means synovial fluid. It is present in the joints. Okay. Similarly, digestive fluid means these are the fluids which are present in the digestive system. So we can write it is present in the digestive system. Okay. Common example, the digestive juices. Digestive juices. Okay. Next, fluid of urinary tract. As the name suggests, the urinary tract, these are the fluid which are present inside the tract of the excretory system. Okay. So we can write it is present in the tract of the excretory system. Okay, students. So by this we came to know that the 8 important extracellular fluid. Okay. So now we will come to what is blood. Students, blood is simply we can say a red color fluid connective tissue, okay, which helps for the circulation, or simply we can write it is a red color fluid collective tissue. Okay. Its pH ranges from 7.3 to 7.6, which is we can say slightly alkaline. Students, what is alkaline, what is acidic, what is neutral? If the pH ranges about on the 7, then the pH is neutral. If it comes below 7, then it will becomes acidic. It will, if the pH ranges above 7, then it will we can say it becomes alkaline. So as the pH of the blood is around 7.3 to 7.6, So we can say it is slightly alkaline. Okay, not much alkaline, it is slightly, we can say the alkaline. So first point, it is a red colored fluid connective tissue. Okay. As there are so many types of tissue are present, connective tissue is one of the important tissue, and the blood is one of the red color fluid connective tissue. Why the blood is red color? Because you know, because due to the presence of the pigment that is called the hemoglobin and the ferrous and the iron pigment. That is why the color of the blood is, we can say, red color. Its pH, next point, its pH ranges from 7.3 to 7.6, which is slightly alkaline, in nature. Next point, students, the viscosity of the blood is higher than about the water. Viscosity means what? Simply we can say the thickness. Okay, the thickness, or we can say simply the viscosity of the blood is higher than about the water. Okay, its viscosity is higher than that of water. Okay. Next, suppose we have a complete body weight. About how much percentage consists of the blood? Then your answer will be 7 to 8% of the body weight consists of the blood. Okay, so we can write about 7 to 8% of body weight consists of blood. Okay, so we can write on an average of a adult human how much liter of blood is present. So the answer will be 5 to 6 liter amount of blood is present in an average adult human. Okay, so we can write in an average adult human, or we can say in an adult human, in adult human, the average range of blood present is about 5 to 6 liters. Okay, 5 to 6 liters. So we can say in the case of an human adult, the average amount of blood that is present, that is we can say 5 to 6 liter. Okay. In adult human, the average range of blood present is, or we can say average amount of blood, it will be much better. Average amount of blood, the average amount of blood present is about 5 to 6 liters. Okay. So what points we discussed? Synovial fluid, it is present inside the joints. Digestive fluid, it is present in the digestive system. A common example, the digestive juices. Fluid of urinary tract, it is present, it is the body fluid which is present in the tract of the excretory system. Okay. Next, what is blood? It is a red color fluid connective tissue. It's have the pH ranges from 7.3 to 7.6, which is we can say slightly alkaline in nature. Okay. So its viscosity is higher than that of water. Viscosity means simply we can say the thickness. About 7 to 8% of body weight consists of the blood, and in an adult human, the average amount of blood present is about 5 to 6 liters. Okay, students, please note down. Students, now come to your important portion, that is your, we can say, the composition of the blood. Okay. As we always discussed, that the blood consists of the liquid part, that is your plasma, and the cellular part. So we can write it consists of basically two important portions. What? One is, we can say, cells, other one we can say the plasma or the liquid portions. Okay. This one is divided into, we can say, three types. What? The RBC, or we can say the red blood cells or red blood corpuscles, okay, or erythrocytes. What? Erythrocytes. Okay. Similarly, second one is, we can say, the WBC or the white blood cells. Next is your, we can say, the blood platelets. Blood platelets. Okay. Whereas the plasma, the water constituent is about 91 to 92%. The water content is around 91 to 92%. Remaining are organic constituents and the inorganic constituents. Okay. The organic constituents are such as the organic constituents and the inorganic constituents. Inorganic constituents. Organic constituents consist of such as, we can say, the glucose, amino acids, glucose, amino acids, next enzymes, hormones, globulin, albumin, these are the various proteins, albumin, okay. Inorganic constituents such as sodium, potassium, chlorine, magnesium, etc. Sodium, potassium, chlorine, magnesium, phosphorus, etc. Okay. Similarly, WBC is divided into two types. What? Granulocytes, agranulocytes. Granulocytes and agranulocytes. Okay. Granulocytes is further divided into three types. Neutrophils, basophils and eosinophils. Whereas agranulocyte is divided into two types, lymphocytes, monocytes. Lymphocytes and monocytes. Okay, students. So these are the complete composition of the blood, what is present inside the blood overally. We will discuss in detail about each of the, we can say, the divisions. Okay, don't worry. So simply the blood consists of, as we discuss always, see, suppose this one is your blood, this one is a liquid part, this cellular part is present, and this one, this black one is your, we can say, the cellular part, and this white one is your, we can say, the liquid part. Okay. So you can take the common example. Suppose you are you have gone any, you went to any sweet store to grab some sort of you can say the famous rasgulla. You can see in a container fluid is present, that the rasgullas, the water that is present, the sweet water. In that sweet water the rasgullas are being floating. Or we can say common example, the rasmalai. We can see the rasmalai is present in a container in which the fluid, the yellow color fluid is present, in which the rasmalai are being floating. Yes, exactly. You can take that rasmalai or the rasgullas as your cellular portion. Excluding that, the remaining liquid part is nothing but the plasma. Clear, students? Similarly, this one is, if this one is your blood, this particle like substances are called your cellular substances. Excluding that white portion, these are, we can say, the plasma or the liquid substance. Okay. So the blood consists of two main parts, cellular part and the plasma part. Cells are divided into three types: RBC or the red blood cells or the red blood corpuscles. It is also known as your erythrocytes. Second one is your WBC or the white blood cells, whereas third one is called the blood platelets. WBC is divided into two types: granulocytes, agranulocyte. Granulocyte, it consists of three divisions: neutrophils, basophils, eosinophils, whereas the agranulocyte, it consists of two divisions: lymphocytes and the monocytes. Next come here. Plasma consists of the water the constituent is about 91 to 92%, remaining 9%, in which the organic constituent is around 8.1%, remaining inorganic is very negligible, 0.9%. Okay. Organic constituent consists of glucose, amino acids, enzymes, various hormones such as various proteins such as globulin and albumin, whereas the inorganic constituents, various ions such as sodium, potassium, calcium, also you can write calcium, magnesium, etc. Okay, students. So this is, we can say, the composition of the blood. Note down. Next, students, we will discuss that firstly we will discuss the plasma. As this in the blood, it have the cellular portion and the plasma portion. First we will discuss the plasma. So student, plasma means what? We can say it is a straw color, or we can say faint yellow color fluid which is present inside the blood, and the color is due to the presence of the various substances such as the bilirubin and the carotene. Okay? So we can write our first point. It is a straw color, straw or faint yellow color fluid, yellow color fluid present inside the blood, due to the presence of means the color is due to the presence of bilirubin and carotene Okay. If we will go by the composition, the water content is around 91 to 92%, whereas the organic constituent is about 8.1%, and remaining 0.9% is your inorganic constituent. So we can write the plasma have the water content is about 91 to 92%, whereas the organic constituents is around how much, students? 8.1%. 8.1%, and inorganic constituents around 0.9%. Inorganic constituents around how much? 0.9%. Okay, students. So what are the various inorganic constituents? We know, such as the bicarbonate, sodium, potassium, calcium, chlorine, magnesium. These are the various inorganic constituents. What are the inorganic constituents? Bicarbonates, sodium, potassium, calcium, chlorine, magnesium, etc. Okay. Whereas these are the various inorganic constituents. Which percentage is around how much? As we discussed, the percentage 0.9%. How much, student? 0.9%. Organic constituents have the percentage around 8.1%. Okay. It consists of two main things. One is your plasma proteins and the nutrients. Okay. Plasma proteins, first we will discuss the serum albumin, then the fibrinogen and the prothrombin. The cerebalbumin, these are basically produced in the liver, and it helps in maintaining the osmoregulation in between the tissue fluid and the cell. Students, osmoregulation means what? Simply you can say the water and salt or the amount of the water and the salt, the balance of the water content and the salt content, that is simply known as the osmoregulation. So, we can say the cerebalbumin, it is produced inside the liver, and it helps in maintaining the osmoregulation, means the water and the salt balance, okay, the content balance, or we can say water and salt retention, okay, in between the tissue fluid and the cell. So, we can write serum albumin, first the protein, plasma protein, that is cerebalbumin, which is present inside the plasma, and it is one of the organic constituent. We can say it is produced in the liver and helps in maintaining the osmoregulation between the tissue fluid and cells. Okay, students. Then fibrinogen and the prothrombin. These are the substances or the proteins or the plasma proteins which helps in the blood clotting. Simply we can write it helps in blood clotting. Blood clotting, you know, whenever any injury occurs, first for some few minutes our blood flows, but after that the blood flowing stops. Why? Due to the blood clotting. As the blood clot, the blood flowing stops from the injured part. Okay, and how this happens? Due to the presence of the plasma proteins such as the fibrinogen and the prothrombin. Okay, students. So till now we discussed what is plasma. It is a straw color straw or faint yellow color fluid present inside the blood, and this straw or the faint yellow color is due to the presence of the bilirubin and the carotene. Okay, bilirubin and carotene. Plasma have consist of water content 91 to 92%, organic constituent 8.1%, and inorganic constituent 0.9%. Inorganic constituents such as bicarbonate, sodium, potassium, calcium, chlorine, magnesium, etc. having around 0.9%, and organic constituent having around 8.1%. It consists of plasma protein and the nutrients. Plasma protein such as serum albumin, it is produced in the liver and helps in maintaining the osmoregulation in between the tissue fluid and the cell, means the salt water balance. And fibrinogen and prothrombin, these are the plasma protein which helps in the blood clotting. Okay, students, please note down. Next we will discuss, students, the next constituents of the plasma, that is your plasma protein, that is your we can say the globulin. Globulin protein, it is of three types. One is your we can say the alpha globulin, beta globulin and the gamma globulin. The alpha and the beta globulin, these are produced by the liver, which helps to transport the fat soluble vitamins. Means what? Fat soluble vitamins. Okay. Next, the gamma, which are being secreted by the B lymphocytes. Okay, B lymphocytes, these are the various immunoglobulins. What are the immunoglobulins? Which are associated to help to fight with the foreign particles. How they fight? Because they produce the antibody which fights further with the foreign particles, or we can say the antigen. Okay. So, similarly, what we have studied, alpha and the beta globulin, these are produced by the liver which help to transport the fat soluble vitamins. Okay. And the gamma means they are secreted by the B lymphocyte, or we can say these are the immunoglobulins. Okay. Next, the properdin. Okay. The properdin, it is a protein which helps to destroy the bacteria and the viruses. It is the protein which generally helps to destroy the bacteria and the viruses. Next, what is serum, students? As we discussed that the plasma is present. If from the plasma we will deduct or minus, we can say extract the fibrinogen and the blood clotting factor, those are the 2, 5, 8. there are many blood clotting factor, but if we will remove the blood clotting factor 2, 5 and 8 and also will remove the fibrinogen from the plasma, then the remaining portion is your serum. Okay students, next point. Nutrient. What it is the nutrient? Various nutrients such as glucose, lactic acid, pyruvic acid, okay, the cholesterol, enzymes and various hormones are also present. What is the optimum amount of glucose that is present? The optimum amount of glucose is about 80 to 120 milligram per 100 ml of blood. If this amount increases, then it becomes condition of the hyperglycemia. See, higher amount of glucose causes hyperglycemia, means above this quantity per 100 ml hyperglycemia. Similarly, cholesterol amount is about 150 to 230 milligram per 100 ml of blood. If more than that, causes the hypertension. Increased amount of the cholesterol leads to the hypertension or blood pressure, okay, various coronary diseases such as your the disorders related to the heart, okay. Next, it consists of also various excretory product such as the ammonia, urea, etc. and also it consists of various gases such as the O2, CO2 and the nitrogen. Okay students, so today we discussed completely about the circulation part, or we can say the introduction portion of the circulation. Means we discussed the circulation, we can say it is the flow of the extracellular substance within the body, from in which the various essential substances are being transported from one part of the body to the another part of the body. In the vertebrates, generally the blood and lymph causes the circulation, whereas in the case of invertebrates, the water, hemocoelomic fluid, then the general body fluids, blood also causes the circulation. Next, we discussed that the body fluid, it helps in the circulation of the, we can say the various important substances, essential substances and the gases. It is of two types, the extracellular fluid, intracellular fluid. Extracellular fluid present inside the cell, extracellular fluid present outside the cell and intracellular fluid present inside the cell. Next we discuss what are the intracellular fluids. Next we discuss the 8 types of the extracellular fluid. Okay. Next we discuss what is the plasma. It is the liquid content of the blood which consists of around 60% of the blood. Okay. In the plasma, we are discussing that the straw color or the yellow, faint yellow color fluid is due to the presence of the substance that is called bilirubin and the carotene. Okay. Next, in the plasma, we discussed it consists of 91 to 92% water, remaining 9% consists of organic and inorganic constituents. Organic constituent is about 8.1% and inorganic constituent is about 0.9%. Okay. We discussed in the organic constituents the various plasma proteins and the nutrients, and also the inorganic constituents such as your sodium, potassium, calcium, chlorine, magnesium, phosphorus, etc. So, we discussed today completely about the introduction part of the circulation and the composition of the blood. In the next class, we will discuss about the RBC, okay, means the cellular part of the composition of the blood. So, that is all for today. We will meet in our next class. Thank you.